and doing a weird fucking flex so that they can feel like they're about to do something. All right, cool.
Yeah, man. Sounds to be alive.
What?
So what did you guys end up doing yesterday?
We didn't. Fuck. What did we do? Not much. I ended up buying a palm tree today. A giant palm tree.
As you do.
Yeah.
Does it even fit on your balcony though?
It's actually my study.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. I'm gonna airdrop it to my
computer.
Yeah. I'll show you what it looks like. This is my study.
This is the real life. Is this just fantasy?
So this is what my for fuck's sake.
My God.
That's what it looks like right now. I don't know if you can see that at all. It's pretty blacked out. That's my office right now.
That's cool.
Bro, it is so sick.
That.
I'm actually, because it's my birthday in a week, I'm going to actually ask Stacey. She's going to get me another one of those palm trees to put on the other side.
Yeah, that's cool.
So pretty much it's like my meditation center. Chill out and just fucking get engulfed by nature. Mm-hmm. Absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Speaking of unnecessary things, the fuck is on your face?
What? Oh, this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Look,
I tend to lean towards liking it. I just wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, kind of like, look, I don't know what's happening with my life right now.
Yeah. Also, we're inside. Why are you wearing sunglasses?
Well, I kind of needed this.
Are we shooting for the Narcos?
Look, man, I just want to be fucking cool, okay?
Season 4 or?
I don't know, maybe.
Did I not know that?
Yeah, no. But look,
Hablo español.
I've got a big issue with before we get into the intro and everything.
Yeah.
So Stacey is negatively impacting me. Okay. And unfortunately what's happening is...
It feels a bit rude to say when she's not here, but continue.
She'll back it up. So we were mucking around. I was going to clean it. Okay, so obviously I haven't shaved in like a good 6 weeks.
Yeah, man.
And so we started shaving, and as a joke, I was going to keep this. As you guys can tell, this is a little bit weird compared to this one. That is Stacey's doing. She's shaving that part off. I'm also now... This is a female jacket that Stacey influenced me to buy.
It looks okay.
These pants, these pants look all right, right? They look like the thing. They're female as well. So pretty much right now, I am wearing what's that? 40% female clothing.
Yeah.
And it's all my wife's doing. So. Shout out to Stacey trying to make me look stylish, but unfortunately, dude, there's no stylish clothing for men.
Well, I tend to disagree with that.
Look, you got cool hoodies and all that sort of jazz. Yeah. Like, even me wearing my rainbow one, which I wear in, like, my rainbow hoodie from West Virginia. Yeah. Even those ones, unfortunately, just fuck, I don't know. Anyway, just do your intro, and I'm going to show you, like, pretty much how I feel right now.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Fresh and Zesty, the #1 music podcast in Australia.
Facts.
Fuck. Let's stick in. If you haven't subscribed, please do.
Please subscribe, guys.
You know, it's great for us. It's great for you. You get to hear us talk shit whenever you want.
We'll make you famous. And also, we are always trying to give tips of how to help you break into not just the bullshit of, like, you know, what most stuff in the internet shows. It just doesn't really explain the ins and outs, the uncomfortable stuff to do with it. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button. Just know, thank you very much. But back to my glasses before we jump into it. Yeah. Actually, today, by the way, just a side note, what we are jumping into is the 5 important things to tell your producer before you go into the studio. And if you don't do these, you can potentially piss off that producer, and he or she may not want to work with you again.
That's a fact.
So make sure, listen to these, listen to all 5, because this is stuff that you've realized along the way. Artists don't tell you, then you get in the studio and then you're fucked, and now you have to charge them more because it's going to take longer than they had previously anticipated.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's how to enjoy that.
Definitely.
Pin that.
Yeah.
These glasses. So this fucking moustache. I hate that I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So
I don't understand. Like, I mean, go for it.
Does it suit me?
Yeah, I actually think it does. I think if you, like, you know, right now you look like a down on his luck firefighter that's like going through some shit. But I feel like if you were to shape the hair a little bit, like fashion tips.
Well, it's kind of going like, I feel like right now, this is how I look. I look like that guy.
Oh, he's a lovely dude.
Facts.
Look, I love you, but he's way more handsome than you. So
I'm working on it. All right, he's got at least 10 years on me. Okay, I need to.
And his moustache is.
He's a fine wine. Ooh. I'm still the grapes. Okay.
Yeah, legit.
We are working towards this good-looking man.
Yeah. Also, he speaks Spanish. Do you speak Spanish?
Care?
Yeah, no.
That's the limit of where I go.
That's fair.
But I'm definitely not as evil as this guy. Definitely not as evil, but
no.
But
I mean that I know of anyway.
We're yet to find out. But
no, look, dude, like go. You know, I'm all about trying things. Like me shaving my head was trying something, and I've kept it for the past 5 years.
Yeah. The only problem is though,
I wouldn't say
my dad has had a moustache his whole life up until a couple of years ago. Yeah. Stacey's dad, my father-in-law, has a moustache as well, and I'm like, shh.
You're just leaning into the culture.
Am I? I'm very concerned. Look.
I mean, we both know you look all right with
I definitely can't go near a school now. Like, no facts. No joke. We were at Flower Power today and I was buying a giant fern and...
See, that's weird.
I don't know. Whether or not I'm just sort of like... I don't know if it's because I'm just reading into it. You know how people give you a blank face? Like Scott got pissed off at a lady for looking at us in the car on the way here. She gave a neutral look. And he's like, that judgmental bitch. And I'm like, bro, it was like neutral face. And he's like, yeah, but she was staring at us.
Yeah.
But, bro, she had sunglasses on. How can you tell that she's scowling?
Oh, you can tell.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
she was just looking at it.
It's the mouth.
Bro,
I just do what Scott was doing so everyone can see.
All I can put it down to, the reason she was staring at us was because of this dirty fucking Mo. She was worried about this man who's looking at her.
I think
looking like this in the fucking window.
See, scowling.
Like 100%.
Look, it's one of those things. Well, it's like my bald head. You know what I mean? And my large beard. Well, it's not actually that large. I'd probably say medium.
It's lush.
It's lush, but it's medium.
100%.
But they're attention grabbers. You know what I mean? They're focus points. Yeah. It's like, oh, that guy's got a bald head. You sort of forget that you like.
I don't think I've ever heard someone say it.
No,
that's
the inside. That's the inside.
Really?
It's like, oh, he's got a bald head.
He's got a bald head. He doesn't look like he's 80.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was showing
the beard.
Yeah, it's definitely like the beard is like, oh, okay. What's he got in there?
Interesting. Like, I mean, look, we can go for hours about our facial hair and stuff, but we're here to tell music tips, producer stuff, and artist stuff.
Grow a beard.
Step 1, grow a moustache or a beard.
Anything to make you individual.
Yep.
That's so bullshit.
Bro.
Oh my God.
All right, okay. So we're going to go straight into it. So, I mean, look, in the past, we've gone through the cognitive biases, how you can use that so that different biases that are ingrained into individuals that we are not aware of, we all have them, how to use those to your benefits to work with people, how to influence your fans. If you haven't watched that video, after you watch this one, go back and watch that one because it's, you'll use it. But this right now, the 5 points that are so important to tell your producer.
Super duper.
Super important. We're going to start. I'll touch through all 5 of them now, and then we're going to go into depth. So make sure you hear what we're talking about. So the first one is a clear directive of your project. Number 2, second most important, what is your realistic budget? And there's another thing with this that you have to prepare for with that. We're going to get into that. Be honest with where you are at and what you expect from the project. That one has another part which we have to touch on, sorry, I'm going to
Stay tuned.
Know your timeline. And if there is anyone else on the project, tell the producer and give the outline up front. And there's a 6th one we're going to touch on right at the end. But I'm going to save that for later.
I thought there was only 5.
There's 5, but there's a bonus one.
Oh, there's a bonus.
Yeah. So make sure you listen carefully.
That's cute. I love that.
So these are things that obviously you have experienced in the past. Me being on the artist side, and just business in general. Like these 5 important topics or items to address are going to be so important, not just in with producers. It's going to be with every aspect of every part with music and outside music. So, number 1, a clear directive of your project.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, first and foremost, you know what I mean? Like you have to, I guess to break it down, you'd be like, one of the questions you ask yourself is, what are you trying to say with your project? You know? And how are you saying it? So is your project a single? That's still a project. It's still, you know, it has different elements to it. So a single is still a project, but is it a single? Is it an EP? Is it a 2-track, a 3-track? Like there's that part of it, you know, the amount of songs that you need to be prepared for.
And I know that sounds silly, but you'd be surprised how many people sort of
100%
call
like
and just
and I guess it's more in terms like, you know, when we're breaking it down, it might seem what's the word?
It's obvious in hindsight.
Obvious, yeah. But once you go through all of these things, you start to realize how it's like just a trickle down effect. You have to start with the most basic thing, which is getting your shit straight, defining your project, you know, and giving yourself clear guidelines. So one of those things would be, okay, well, how many songs am I doing? If you've got you've got a story, you know what I mean? You're telling a story. Your project is about, I don't know, a breakup, you know? Is one song going to explain enough of what you went through? Or are you going to need a couple of songs where it's going to be like, this was the really bad part. Was that Family Guy thing with Stu? He's like,
oh, what?
And that's a C.
No, I'm
going
to try and find that.
Yeah. You have to, you know, how is your story going to be told over one song? Will it fit? Do you need more songs? You know, describing that and defining that to yourself. Another thing is your soundscape. I think we touched on this in one of the other episodes.
Yep.
But that's such an important thing, you know, like give yourself references, you know, like it's not necessarily that you have to stick to them 100%, but at least as a starting point to define the sound that you're trying to go for. It's super helpful for you to stay on track when you're writing and for your producer to stay on track when he's making things. Sure, there'll be variations in things, but like it really, really does help.
Yeah. It's just that's the thing. The more that you know about your project, it gives direction, you know, like think of it like if you ask for someone for directions to a place, take away maps like Google Maps or whatever. Yeah. If you ask for directions and they sort of, I mean, you kind of go this way and then that way, that person is going to get lost. Yeah. And so think of it like that. Like the more you can sort of articulate, and this requires like actually maybe to spend 5-10 minutes of planning time before you even get on the call to the producer. Yeah. Because also there is nothing more fucking embarrassing when you have no clue what you're saying to this producer. Like you want to be taken seriously by this producer. You know, like there's a level of respect, there's a level of professionalism. You don't want to look like a guy who can't get his shit straight, because also that producer might then not want to work with you because they're like, their time is money. And if you come across going, look, I kind of know these, I know the rules and like the things of which I want to see with this project. I'm also giving this information to you and we can break it down. But the more that I come presenting to you, the more professional and respected you're going to be by this producer. Now, on that, still give the producer a little bit of room. Don't come in and be a fucking diva or devo. Nice. You know, like, because then you're also going to piss off that producer. Yeah.
Well, you know, like it's always finding like a balance between, you know, like I think it's how you approach your project, which is another part of defining the project. One thing you have to take into account is when you approach a producer or somebody that you're working with, make sure they're the right person for the job. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing country music and you approach an R&B producer, if you don't have the sole intention of mashing those two genres together, you're probably not going to get the result that A, you want, or B, that you were looking for. So it's you know, like you really have to, it's all good and well, you know, if you see somebody on Instagram and they're like, oh, this guy's worked with that person and that person. Oh, you know, like he's popping at the moment, he's going off. That's great. But if it's not conducive to your project,
yep,
it really doesn't
And that's
matter.
where knowing your directive is super important.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, you know?
Yeah.
And on your point of coming to producer with facts and things like that, I think, you know, like say you've got a whole bunch of references for your producer. Really, like the way that I ask artists to come to me is 5, like imagine you were in like the 90s and cars didn't have like auxiliary cables. Oh, fuck. You had like a 5 or 6 CD changer in your car.
Oh, 6-stack CDs. I remember them.
Yeah.
Jeez, in the boot of the car, or the trunk.
Yeah, and you had like that disc wallet, like full of CDs. Imagine you had a 6 CD changer that you couldn't change. That was your project.
Ah, okay.
What and who and why? So break it down to like, okay, what artists are similar to you?
Yeah.
What aspects of those albums or songs you like. So I really like the tone of the voice in here. I really like how they manipulated the voice, or I like how they did the guitars or drums or whatever, you know,
Mr.
in terms of your sonics, 100%.
Mr. Potato Head method.
100%. And then, you know, and then some of you might just be like, I just like this record. It was just really nice. I can't explain it, but like just everything about it was really nice. That's still a decent explanation.
Yeah. And it gives them guidance.
Exactly. It just moves things along. And if you're having trouble articulating yourself, say you don't know exactly how to approach the producer, or you don't know enough about your project yet, and you've seen this podcast and you're like, okay, well, I need to plan stuff out. I saw one of my friends on Instagram, Maria Gray, this chick from Canada, she used, like, it was a physical method for her to organize herself. So she broke it up into categories, like whatever she was thinking about in her head, broke up into categories. And then underneath those categories, just off the top of her head straight away, without really thinking about it, just all the things that were coming to her head, putting it into the different categories. So this could be about anything.
Yeah.
But if we were going to focus on the music, it'd be like, okay, for my release, what do I need? I need the music, the writing, PR or publicity. I need, you know, to upload the tracks. I need videos, whatever. They could be the categories. And then within that, you write things depending on that category. So for the music, I might need to contact a producer. I might need to talk to a studio, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You write all these underneath little topics down, and then you prioritize them. You know, what's the most important, you know, you put it down in front of you and you're like, okay, top of the list, that's the most important that I have to do right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
the
like,
one
okay.
thing.
Yeah. And so then you might have 4 or 5 things for that topic. Arrange them. Next one. And then you've got a clear directive right there. It's not a timeline. It's not, you know, that what we'll go into later, but it's something that you know you have to do before you even pick up a phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know exactly what things you need and you know exactly what you want.
Yeah.
If that, you know, because that works better for some people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So,
yeah, and that's the important thing. Like, I mean, you have to kind of be 5, 6, 7, 10 steps ahead, and like, yeah, you have to be that little bit ahead, because that is super fucking embarrassing when you go to someone, and then you need 2 steps before that, and then you've now called this producer. And
he's asking you questions you
don't know, and you're like, hey, yeah, I want to use you, but after I do blah, 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 you're kind of just leaving that producer hanging. And then after, the problem with that is then, you're kind of treating them like a bit of a fuckwit.
Well, I mean, beyond that, it's like, you know, you're organizing with this person, but you can't really put a date in place to work with them because you don't know yet you haven't gotten everything sorted yet. So you can't book something. And so you're like, oh yeah, I'll call you again to book something. And by that time, they've already booked something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think this leads into the next point pretty well, which is your realistic budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's super important. Be realistic with your budgets. This is point number 2. Be realistic with your budget, but have like a 20% buffer planned. And this is for your music specifically, but where a lot of people forget, again, is the marketing budget.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like you see most artists will plow 5, 10, 15 grand into an EP or album or whatever, and then $0 in their marketing budget.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why their shit doesn't pop. You know, like, so again, with knowing, like what you said, with the directive and the plan, put your budget across that whole thing.
Yeah.
And have a 20% buffer, because your budget is not going to happen at all. You're going to plan that, and then something's going to pop up you haven't thought about, which happens 100%
Doesn't matter how
of the time.
much you plan, that is always a
happens.
possibility, and it always happens to some degree.
Yeah, so if you have $1,000, aim to keep your budget under 800. You know, or you know, whatever. Like if it's 10 grand, try and keep it to 8. Yeah, and then that way you've got a buffer of stuff going over.
Or if you know it's going to be 10 grand, have 12.
Yeah, like pretty much
same principle. You know what
I mean? So, because then otherwise, yeah, it happens all the time. And last thing you want to do is invest 10 grand into a project, and then you can't release it because you need another $1,000 or $2,000. And then all of a sudden now you've got 10 grand of music or whatever it is just sitting there because you can't wait for the last, like you haven't got the last bit to just get it out there. Yeah. And that is then 10 grand wasted.
Yeah. And that project has a 6 to 8 week period. So,
yeah,
you know, like that's its life cycle, whether it's a single or whether it's an EP. An EP or a project like an album or something like that, you might get a couple extra weeks out of. But majority of the time, your cycle, the life cycle of a release is between, I'd say, 4 to 8 weeks.
That one's an interesting topic because a lot of artists do say that. You know, I'm going to make a note of that.
It's the era we live in.
Well, there's also though, like, it's 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for the people who've heard it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can release a song, like I guess I always use freaking Old Town Road as an example. That song, he marketed it for 9 to 12 months. Yeah. You know? It didn't get big until 9 to 12 months.
Yeah.
So there's that 6 to 8 weeks, of course, but there is like a difference to it. Like, you know, you can release a song to 1,000 people. They get over it in 6 to 8 weeks. You're probably over it before it's even released because you've heard it so many times.
Definitely over it.
But that's 1,000 people that you can then find another 1,000 people who've now got 6 to 8 weeks because it's a new song to them. Yeah. And that's where artists get trapped. But we'll touch on that later.
Yeah.
So yeah, have your budget laid out, a realistic budget, add 20%. You don't have to tell that person. Like, I would suggest not going to the producer, hey, my budget is 10 grand,
but I've got 20%,
but I have 12. Because look, there's a lot of producers that won't bleed that. But also, again, there's a bias where because they know there's a 20% buffer, they might not knowingly, like they know they've got that to lean on. Whereas if they think that all you have is 10 grand, they're going to do their best to keep under that. Yeah. And then if something does actually happen where it's out of your control, you can then go, all right, it's all good.
I also just think it's good business practices. Like
always.
Just don't say it. It's unnecessary information.
Yeah.
I'd rather you tell me some
what
references
what
for
you
the
need
project
to know.
And, you know, how you want things to sound orange, then be like, I have an extra 2 grand.
Yep. 100%. Tell them what they need to know. Cool. All right. So the third one, this one is so important and we see it so often with artists. Like, unfortunately, so many artists today, every genre, they're stuck in the... You good, bro?
Yeah.
Am I keeping you awake?
Just yawning.
Okay, sorry. Everyone's stuck in the flex. You know, like... And we're stuck flexing on every single person. Like, we flex to our friends about what we've got. We flex to the producers that we haven't even spoken to yet because we want to fake it till we make it. And like, yeah, there's an element of faking it till you make it, but don't bullshit people as well. And where we see it, and this is the third point, be honest with where you're at and what you expect from the project. Don't say you have a beat ready and then turn up with an unfinished, unpolished turd of a beat. Like, don't do it because you have to manage those expectations. Like, don't turn up with a turd.
Or if you do,
tell them it's a turd. Like,
just be like, I've got an idea, but it's not complete.
Yeah. Think of it when you go on a date.
Yeah.
You go on a date, like, and you've seen her photo. She's fucking banging. Like, and then you get there and you're not able to look at her at the right angle because the actual angle isn't as good as the angle that her photographs are taken. You're pissed. Don't catfish the producer with the shit song.
Such a roundabout way.
But that's the thing. Don't tell them. Like, manage their expectations by telling them that you have a song that is at this level and needs to be raised to another level, because if you go in and they know exactly where you're at, there's a level of communication that they understand where you're at. They're going to come in, go, sweet, and have a plan of attack and know where to go. Yeah. However, the problem is if you come in and they think you're here, the reality is you're here, they've planned for here up. And then you're definitely going to use that extra 20% of your cash flow budget because they need to now lift this to here to go there.
But if they don't, the problem is they've budgeted from here up. They've given you a price from here up, and then you're adding this on. You're going to ruin that relationship with that person because you're adding extra things on that they shouldn't have to do because you told them that you had things ready.
It's just unnecessary work.
Well, beyond that, without that clear communication, it's just rude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, you know, like if the budget wasn't in your budget, if their quote wasn't in your budget, move to a different producer.
Yeah.
Or talk to them and discuss it and be like, look, I really want you on my project. Like, I love what you do. But if it's like don't be a dick. You know what I mean? If it does, that was fucking fabulous, guys.
Teamwork, baby.
Oh my God. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's don't deceive them. Yeah. You're asking these people to to put their creative energy and their heart and soul into your project, but you're going to deceive them. Yeah. It's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth.
Breaking trust.
Yeah. It's like, it's not, I'm sorry, this is like divine, absolutely divine teamwork. I love this.
In front and behind the camera.
In short, don't be a dick.
Yeah. It always just comes down to communication, you know? And that is the most important thing because
there's nothing wrong with you having a shit product. You know what I mean? You're going to somebody to make it better. Producer. Like that's the legit reason you're going there.
Yeah.
So don't have an ego about it. Just be like, look, I've got this idea.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do with it. This is where I want to be.
Yeah. And if you don't have an idea and you just have some theories, go with that. Like,
yeah, great.
The other day, I'm just like, hey, I just want to fucking make a song, dude.
Yeah.
Let's move this and bash it together and let's figure it out.
That's it.
You know, that's the fun part too, because then you create that open relationship and you're honest with this producer, building a relationship in that way where, because the other people, the bullshit is, you're just like instantly you're going to look a little better. Yeah,
you're always going to look better.
That producer is going to most likely want to work with you again because A, you pay, and B, you're honest.
And possibly next time they might drop the price, you know? They might meet you at your budget. They might be more, because they appreciate how you come to the table with what you've got. You're honest about it. You know exactly what you want. You're ready. You're prepared. You know how long it's going to take. You understand the work that goes into it. You're not trying to cheat them out. They're going to be like, you know what? Last time was really cool. It was really straightforward. We did what we had to do. We got it done. And we came out with a great project because of that. Yeah. And now we have this relationship. So now maybe they'll ask you to help them on something. You know what I mean? Like it's this back and forth. Like,
yeah. Like the majority of the industry, unfortunately, is a bunch of bullshit artists.
And bullshitting people. Like it's not just artists.
No, I mean like bullshit artists.
Producers do it too.
And the thing is like
everybody.
As soon as you are trusted, bruh, it's like a cheat code because automatically you're ahead of probably 80% of the people in the game.
Yeah.
You know, because all of a sudden it's being honest is an unfair advantage because no one else is.
100%.
Yeah. So anyway, so number 4. We've touched on it with number 1. You touched on it on Chunky. Just know your timeline.
Yeah.
You know, like planning is the hardest thing. So there's people either get stuck in. There's 2 types of people that unfortunately get nowhere. It's the planners the overplanners, where they're addicted to planning and no action. You know, I guess an example that's going to piss people off is people that study their whole life.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no diss against those people, but they never go out and like they learn one subject and they do the other and they do the other, then they do the other, then they never leave uni and they're there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's the same with like artists, like, and producers and a lot of people in the music scene. It's like, oh, I've got this idea and that idea. When this happens, I'll do that. People get tired of those people because you're hearing, again, a lot of talk and no walk.
Yeah.
So don't be an over and over planner. Don't be a chicken without like its head.
Your head cut off.
Yeah. Like don't always be doing action with no fucking plan.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be this medium thing. So one example of why you should know your timeline and plan is because it's like that thing of those two guys. There's two men with an axe, and then what they do is they get told to chop down a tree in an hour. So one, they both got blunt axes. One just goes, fuck it, and just starts chopping it, like, straight away with his blunt axe. The other one just sharpens it for, like, half an hour. Just sharpens it while this guy's fucking going ham on a tree. Yeah. And half an hour's time, this guy's axe is so freaking sharp, and he just goes down, bang, 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 couple of times, tree's down. And he's beaten that guy. Because he took the time to sort of know the path ahead of him, know the timeline, know the plan, get things in order, that he knocked it down way faster than the person who was just going ham, even though the work aspect of it was less than the guy who went straight from zero. Yeah. So with this, with knowing your timeline and be defined with it is, again, what you touched on. If you know that, all right, I've got to do 2 things before this thing, bang, knock that one off. Next thing, like, all right, now let's call the producer. I got this, and this. I know the plan I need to do. The producer's like, sick. All right, what timeline? We've got to do it in 4 days. All right, mad, whatever. Let's do it. And then I've got now, though, because I know I've got that, I've got my mixing guy lined up.
Yep.
He's scheduled this day. I've got my mastering guy this day. They're going to take a couple of days. Whatever. So I've got them all my ducks are like lined up in a row. Bang, bang, bang. All right, now I've got the song. Now I've got ready for that. Now I'm already pumping the song from before I've even started recording it.
I've already had the talks with blogs. I've already had the talks with PR. I've already had all these conversations. Everything is in place for when that happens.
Yep. And then as soon as that's ready, like you drop your song and enough people know about it and you've dropped it on the date that you've said, your fans trust you because, again, you've delivered. Like how sick are you hearing about artists that are in the studio and it's like, cool, when the fuck are you going to release a song, dude? You know, like there's only so much anxiety you can give me about a song dropping before I go, fuck it.
Yeah, before you lose that.
Exactly. And then once you drop that song, then you have to have a marketing plan in play. Like, what are you doing after that for the next 6, 8 weeks, months? Like
whatever your timeline is.
Exactly. And it's a lot of work, guys. It's a lot of work.
Like we said with the budget, that extra 20%, have that for your timeline.
Yep. Shit
will go wrong. Shit will happen. The mixed engineer gets busy. The mastering guy gets busy. You have revisions for both.
Mastering guy falls off because he just went, like, turns out it wasn't the guy you wanted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get something back, and after a couple of tries, it doesn't work out. I've had that.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's gone to somebody else. It's, it is what it is.
It happens.
That's the game. If somebody's not delivering you
wrong,
if somebody's not delivering you the product that you want, you don't have to accept it. You know what I mean? You can, pay the fee. They did the work, but
don't be a dick.
Yeah, there's no reason why you can't then go, okay, cool. Well, like, let's try a different mixing engineer. Let's try a different mastering engineer because that wasn't the result that I wanted.
Yeah, but
always give yourself that extra time and
having a deadline. That quote from when I saw an interview with Muse, when someone asked him, like, dude, so I think they asked the bassist, when do you guys know a song is done? His response was poetic. He goes, the deadline.
Yeah.
Because again, this is where a lot of artists get trapped. We get trapped in, there's no deadline that I have to release this song at a certain date. So I'm just going to tweak a little bit. Yeah. And then, again, you get fatigued by listening to the same thing. So you go and tweak a little bit. Yeah. You can tweak a song for fucking years because you just keep getting bored of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you stop listening to it. Start working on it, and then you come back to it. You're like, oh, well, this is so trash because it was good for that time.
Yeah.
But now you're at this level, so you're like, well, I should probably just redo it all.
Yeah.
I've done that so many times. And I hate it.
Just drop it. Like, you know, so you don't know if song's going to be good. Like the Motto by Drake, that was a B-side on his album.
Yeah.
Originally. He was just like, oh, cool. All of a sudden that blew up and he's like, all right, it's a single. Same thing happened with Muse with Feeling Good.
Yeah.
It was a B-side. Now it's one of their biggest hits in their early years. Yeah. You don't know how people are going to receive it. Like your banger could flop. Your flop could bang. You just don't know. So,
poetry.
Yeah. Poetry in motion. So
yeah. No, I think that's
know your timeline, guys, and stick to it because it'll make you hurry the fuck up.
Yeah.
So much. And bring in external pressures as well. Like tell your followers, I got a song dropping now. Tell your fans, like tell the producer, these are the dates. And like I used to do it with my shows. I would start selling the tickets for my show before I put the show together. Yeah. You know, because again, where it overlaps, I'm like, all right, I have 8 weeks to sell out a show.
Yeah.
Start marketing. In those 8 weeks, I'm going to start putting together the show. And then by the time the show's ready, because I've overlapped those things of marketing and preparation, then that deadline happens. And guess what? Yeah, cool. I was stressed out my fucking head. But I've sold out 3 from 3 shows.
Yeah.
You know, and one of them was 170 people at the Vanguard on a Sunday. You know? And then they wouldn't give me a Saturday because I didn't prove myself, but we'll get into that. But you know, like because I was hustling like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that's not a brag. Like that is just an example of what you can do. Even in Sydney, selling out 170 people in on a Sunday in the middle of, I think it was August, was it?
Yeah, it was.
It was August. You know? And that was because they wouldn't give me a Saturday or Friday because I was too high risk, which is fair enough. They don't know who the fuck I am.
Crazy town.
So set those pressures and put it out there because under enough pressure, you make shit happen because all of a sudden, you know, fuck, if I fail, that's going to be embarrassing as shit telling everyone, hey, sorry. You make it happen. Yeah. Cool. Number 5. So number 5 is if there is anyone on the project, tell the producer, give them the outline up front, like we've said with the timeline, the outline, everything else, so that you're managing their expectations. All of these things is like at the end of the day, you can sum all 5 of these up literally by just manage the expectations. You know, because
100%.
nothing pisses off a producer more it's the classic, I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I'm not going to tell them stuff. Fucking tell them because it's going to hurt their feelings double if they're under the impression that you are getting them to produce and mix and then they finish the production and then you're like, yeah, so I've got to I've actually got another mixer.
Yeah.
You look like a dick.
Yeah.
Because you haven't told them. Yeah. You haven't managed their expectations. And it's unnecessary.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Because that's happened a bunch to you, I'm sure.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, it's
not a personal attack, but I mean, like,
it's just
happens.
It's a thing that happens, you know what I mean? Like, because it comes to that point where people don't want to hurt your feelings.
And they hurt it bigger by not being upfront.
Yeah, 100%. Because you're just like, well, if you just, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, you get to the point where it's like, I just want the project to be out.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy and I want the project to be out. Yeah. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because if your project's if your producer's a part of the project, they want it to come out because it benefits them just as much as it benefits you. You know what I mean? It's a credit they get to use. You know, if people are following them, that's another thing that they get to put on their 1-page EPK about who they've worked with. You know what I mean? It's a skill that they've done. It's a client that's happy for what they did, and it's, you know, it's a contact that you haven't, that it's a relationship that hasn't been spoiled. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Shit, I've lost it. Yeah, cool. And then the bonus one. So leading up to this, it's all about managing expectations, being honest, upfront, direct in a way. The last one, which is the biggest way to piss off a producer and to get a bad name around the industry, which no one wants. Do not be a tire kicker. You know, like we all know those people. There's the ones that go to a car lot and they fuck around with the sales guy. They're sort of just kicking the tires, having a look, you know, and then they've spent 2 hours on the parking on the lot looking at different cars, test driving, and then they're like, oh, cool, I'm going to go think about that. You just wasted time. So, and this happens a lot in this industry all the time. Like
window shopping, it happens in every industry,
bro.
You know what I mean?
And that is the reason why now we've with us on the website. If you want to book a consultation call with Chunky, it's a deposit of $45. And if you move forward, that then gets absorbed into whatever products you go with, if it's producing, mixing, mastering, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because we have to put that in there to stop tire kickers. Because if, you know, like it's your time, you're setting aside time to talk them through their products and their projects, that your time needs to be respected, because you're then, by booking that, like you're setting aside time to talk with someone. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's such a common thing of artists calling not just you, but every producer and doing a weird fucking flex so that they can feel like they're about to do something and then justify why they don't. But then but it's at the expense of wasting your time or wasting another producer's time. Don't be that guy, because this industry, especially in Sydney and Australia, it's small. Like after a while, everyone knows everyone, or everyone at least knows someone who knows the other person. And once you've kicked a few tires and someone goes, hey, I had, you know, so-and-so call me, that person's going to go, bro, he's a tire kicker, fuck it. Or she's a tire kicker, don't even bother about it. And you might actually be serious for once. And now you've just lost a potential cool project to work with this particular producer because of your past of being a tire kicker. Like, there's just don't do it. And also, it just makes you look like a dick. And you're not a dick. You're a cool guy or gal watching this. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Like, you know, there's times where, you know, you genuinely asking questions because you're asking around. That's great. You know what I mean? Somebody might not have...
But be upfront with that from the beginning.
Yeah. Somebody might not have their rates on their website or whatever. Yeah. Or, like, you know, you might not be able to find much info about them. You know, this happens a lot with, like, Instagram producers and things like that. Like, you know, you get hit up all the time. It's like, oh, what are your rates? What do you charge? Stuff like that. Well,
that's a side note as well for producers. Show your rates.
Yeah.
If that's your thing. But
there's nothing wrong. There's nothing... Like, you don't have to keep guarded. There's not this, like, massive secret that you have to keep guarded. It's like, just show people what you charge. You know what I mean? Like, if you're comfortable with what you charge, do it.
Like, could you imagine going to, like, Woolworths, and the only way you can find out what the price is by going to the checkout? You put everything in your fucking trolley, and you're like, all right, cool. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That cost me $400? That's like, that would just piss off consumers.
That's hilarious. Could you imagine if that?
Oh, bro. It's just like Russian roulette. It's like, fuck, how much are these cookies? I reckon they're $2 to $3. $7. Now I'm here and I'm awkward. I can't really say no, but now I'm pissed off at Woolworths because you've ripped me off because I thought they were going to be $2 or $3. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I think I have been getting recently, which is well, I mean, no, but now I must. That's been happening recently is like people have been actually asking me how much I charge rather than just trying to get in with me into the studio, which is great. I think it's a great turn of events, you know what I mean? Yeah, like it obviously shows that people are more direct and more interested, and it makes me think that they're
more serious
about their project, you know what I mean? If they're starting with questions like, what's your rate? How much do you charge? That's going to make me more inclined to actually be like, oh, well, I'll tell you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and not only that, with the website thing, like,
I just redirect people to the website.
And that's the beauty too, because so this is a note for producers, for artists. One of the benefits of putting your prices on the website, you're only going to get hit up by people who know your prices and are now prepared to fucking pay them.
Yeah.
You know, like you're saving yourself time. Like, could you imagine? I would rather have one call by someone that knows what I charge, because I know that they're more likely to pay for it than having 10 calls from people who have no idea. And I'm, again, trying to find out, because now I've got to waste 10 lots of half an hour or an hour, 10 hours, let's say, of phone calls to maybe get one or two of those people. Whereas with this one person, I'm going to spend half an hour to an hour talking to this one person to have like a 80 to 90% chance that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I would rather that, because now I've got 9 hours of my life back. Show your prices.
Yeah.
It is so much. It saves you a fucking headache. And same with the call, with like, you know, having that upfront thing. Like, you've invested time into this artist who's just called you, and if they find out it's not, you're not the right one for them, that is cool. But they've also then paid the respect of a fee to set aside time to talk to you. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
And again, we've had some calls already, and it's like they've worked out great.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to feel like, you know, that people respect your time. 100%. I'm not saying people that don't do this don't respect my time, but it's just that thing. It's like, okay, well, like, yeah, he must be really serious about talking to me about his project.
Yeah. Well, I think we've grown up in a day, like, especially in the last few years, we expect trial-free periods, 7 days, 14, 30 days of trial periods, or money-back guarantee periods. That tire kicking has really become a thing.
Yeah.
It's really become a thing where it's like... Because you can. And because everyone, again, especially in this industry, is so, unfortunately, quick to give shit for free.
Yeah.
That, unfortunately, like, now by you having that, all right, there's a fee just to talk to me, but don't worry, when you move on to the next thing, that amount of money that you've invested to talk to me actually goes into the product. Like, I'm not just taking money. But that in itself goes, all right, cool. This is someone who actually values his time. And therefore, I am going to value his time as well. 100%. So, yeah, guys, just value your time and value the person you're talking to, because, again, that mutual respect, it's so much of a benefit.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Cool. We're going to end it on one more thing. You sent me this random thing. So, why don't you tell them?
This is completely random, but I just thought it was really, really cool. I found this website called Access Analog. And this isn't sponsored, by the way. This is just...
It's in the mail.
Legit. Like, I found this website, accessanalog.com.
Onlyfans.com.
No, so, I mean, me personally, I've got a little bit of analog gear in the racks behind me that I use for all different parts of the process of my job. And some people really like using analog gear. Some people don't give a shit. Some people, you know, are indifferent. For the people who do love to use analog gear, but can't afford it because it gets quite
fucking expensive.
And, you know, if you don't have it, to be able to use it, you have to book time at a studio, which can also be quite expensive. Always try and support your local studios, please.
Shout out.
Like, you know.
Just do it.
301, Kiln.
Chunkyluv Studios.
Chunkyluv Studios. Nah, man, like there's so many beautiful Sydneys here in Australia that you really, really need to check out.
Chunkyluv Studios. Anyway, back to this robotic arm.
So basically what this is you sign up, you download, it's a free plugin you download from this site, and it just goes into your DAW. For any non-music people, it's digital audio workstation. And basically what happens is, what happens is you open up this plugin, you go onto the website, and you book time to use a certain piece of gear. And I think it's in like half an hour increments. It works out to be something like, I don't know, like 12 or 15 Australian dollars per half an hour. And what happens is you put the plugin on any track or any channel of your DAW, and it feeds a signal from your DAW all the way to this place in this studio in the States. Goes
a measly like 30,000 miles.
Yeah, goes through their analog gear. You can use the plugin to change the knobs on that analog gear. My mind blew.
Because you got a video right here. Like, there's an actual
you can see like
there's robotic arms.
Yeah. So what they do is they build like a robotic arm on the front of the piece of analog gear that turns the knobs or pushes the buttons or, you know, flicks the switches. And when you do that on the plug-in, it does it.
We just got some chicks in bikinis.
Dad bottle
For some reason, I think the video you sent me doesn't do shit. It was just some...
No, it's got the sound, but it's like...
How is that related
I don't know.
to Dad Bottle 6-pack, and that's related to music?
He's really...
Anyway, sorry, but I digress. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there's like robotic arms. I thought you had a better video, but sorry about that, guys. That was a letdown. That was like foreplay without the sex.
I mean, the audio worked for me, but that's cool.
Nah.
That's cool. Anyway, so basically what it does is, it touches, like, it presses all the buttons, goes through the analog gear, and I actually tried it. It was mad. The only problem is with our internet in Australia, it's trash.
Fucking Australia.
So go to your studios.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, we're going to end that on that note. So guys, just to recap quickly, the 5 points, please write them down if you haven't already. 5 important points: a clear directive of your project. B, number 2, what is your realistic budget? Have 20% extra. 3, be honest with where you're at and what you expect from the project. Know your timeline, plan, because again, remember those pressures force you to take action and execute. And if there's anyone else on the project, fucking tell the producer, tell them the team they're working with, and what they're going to be doing. At the end of the day, again, it's just managing expectations of everyone. Do not be that dick that breaks up with the girlfriend just by ghosting her. Don't be that guy. And just don't be a tie kicker. 100% just don't. You know, like, respect people's time. Call them when you know you're taking action.
I mean, it's also your time as well.
Yeah, but a lot of people are stuck in, you know, a lot of people, there's a bias where people love the idea that they're going to take action. How many people have you heard about business ideas they're going to do? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
I just like to talk.
And then they don't fucking do it, you know, and then they're stuck at 40 years old at home living with their parents because, you know, if I had that idea, if I did that, like how many people had the idea for Uber? One person executed it and then others copied, but don't tie kick. So cool, guys. Yeah, make sure like and subscribe. I may or may not have this dirty mo later. I think you should keep it. I think you should keep it. Yeah, look, it depends on how close we are to divorce after this. I don't know if this is going to be a crack down the marital bliss. But yeah, make sure to subscribe. We love you guys. We'll keep coming back with more tips. Comment below with what you like and what you want to learn more of, because there's a shitload out there. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye.